In the last video, I spoke about why long-standing heartburn is not good for you. But what is more important is that taking just over-the-counter medications is actually masking or suppressing a lot of these symptoms and putting you at an inadvertent risk of conditions that you could certainly avoid. So in this video, my purpose is to educate you about how best to go around managing your heartburn symptoms. Friends, as I mentioned last time, heartburn is also known as gastro-esophageal reflux disease. Reflux, regurgitation, chest burning, all these are similar names for the one common condition, which is more acid coming up into your food pipe and creating the damage. A lot of people, they treat the heartburn as something like a common cold. They just go get the over-the-counter medications like Nexium, Tums, Rene, Gaviscon, Mylanta, and they think, oh, that's gone. That's pretty much it. Back to work. But what they are not understanding is that taking these medications on the long term is creating or subjecting them to a lot of inadvertent side effects that they are not even aware of. Even being in the medical profession myself, we were told that medications like Nexium and omeprazole and Somac are very safe to be given in the long term. Not anymore. A lot of studies are showing that Nexium or proton pump inhibitors, as they are commonly called, are subjecting patients to vitamin deficiency, especially vitamin B12, osteoporosis, neurological conditions, especially dementia. Even some studies like this are showing there is a risk of early death, premature death by way of heart attacks and strokes. And we also know that there is this ongoing expense that you have to take all the time these medications, which is not a good strategy to be managing something which is benign, which is not something which is that serious, but can transform into something serious. And as I mentioned in my last video, one of the key risk factors of long-standing heartburn is the risk of development into Barrett's esophagus or esophageal cancer or the cancer of the food pipe. So the first thing that I always say, that if you've been having heartburn for more than 6 to 12 months at the worst, you must get it checked out. And the best single most important test is that of a gastroscopy or an endoscopy, where a camera is put down the throat and a good view is taken, and even biopsies are taken at the same time to look for any abnormalities. But in today's video, I'm going to be just talking about some simple measures that you can start putting into place from today onwards that can give you long-standing relief of your symptoms. Friends, I've been dealing with these problems and I've been sort of helping patients over the last 2.5 decades with ongoing gastroesophageal reflux with simple measures that can allow them to achieve lasting success. Let's dive straight in. There are 9 strategies that I can suggest. Number 1 is diet. What you got to understand is that if your diet is rich in processed foods, it is going to create more acidity in the body. Taking more spicy foods, especially chilies and lots of hot spicy drinks and all of that is going to create more acidity. Number 2, cutting back on your nicotine or smoking is very important because nicotine directly stimulates the cells in the stomach that produce more acid. Number 3, cutting back on your alcohol and caffeine intake. Once again, these are stimulants for the stomach to make more acid. Next is fasting 4 hours before you go to sleep. Now that is common sense, which means that if you go to bed at 10 o'clock at night, you should not eat anything after 6 p.m. You can have like a cup of tea or some warm water. Those are all very good things to have. Next, make sure that your vitamin D levels are corrected. There is some research that is showing that vitamin D, if it is low, can increase the production of gastrin, which is a stimulant for the stomach to make more acid. Next is taking an alkaline diet. Now, what do I mean by alkaline diet? Our body likes to maintain its pH at 7.4, which is slightly on the alkaline side. Taking green vegetables, fresh fruits and berries are a really good way of making your body alkaline. You could take cold pressed juices or make smoothies, and that's a very good way of consuming all the healthy nutrients that are there in the alkaline diet. I often refer to a rule of 80-20 rule, which is there in one of my other videos, which really talks about 80% of the time you have fresh fruits and vegetables and green leafy vegetables. Next, manage your stress better. We all live in a world where there is a lot of stress. Friends, it's not about leading a stress-free life, it's about managing your stress better. And one of the key things is to make sure that you get a good sleep of 6 to 8 hours at least. Next is make sure that you are in your healthy BMI, or you are not carrying a lot of excess weight in your middle part. If you're doing that, it is going to be working against you, and any issues that you are having in relation to your heartburn will only get worse. And the last and most important is fix your constipation. Friends, our gastrointestinal tract is like a long tube. If you are constipated, there is a lot of back pressure that builds up, which creates issues. And it's not just that, it's a very simple way of describing it. Make sure that you're taking plenty of fiber, natural fiber. I recommend Benny fiber, which is easily available from the supermarket. It's a natural source of fiber that you can get, and you can fix your constipation. Now, when some individuals have this condition called as a hiatus hernia, let me explain that a little bit, because hiatus hernia is nothing else but laxity of the valve which is there at the point where the food pipe joins the stomach. If that valve is opened up, or the muscle around it is opened up, it can never function normally. No matter how much medications you take, you will be taking this on an ongoing basis. I always recommend get a gastroscopy, because that will pick up whether you have a hiatus hernia or not, and that may need a surgical repair. It is done by laparoscopy, which is keyhole surgery. We do it with very tiny cuts on the tummy, and the recovery is generally 2 to 3 nights stay in the hospital. Relatively safe operation, but it gives you lasting relief, and more importantly, reduces your dependence on all these medications with these side effects. So I hope this video has been of use to you. Please do like it and share it, and do subscribe to my channel for forthcoming videos.